Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, TheBee LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Our pollen is silver and our nectar is gold, preserving our wealth as honey of old. And like ancient metals, we hold our own. And today we have Aaron Berk joining us. Let me bring him up. Aaron, welcome in. Good to see you. How you doing?
Good, my friend. Good.
Good, good. All right, so wanted to touch base. I got notified.
Hey, look.
Oh, nice. let me let me bring that up to full screen. Beautiful, nice cup there. Thanks for that. Um, so yeah, I wanted to bring something up that someone brought to my attention earlier about Harlan J. Berk and something you guys just had uh, got covered by Fox
We did.
32.
We did.
And I thought I would play this clip a little bit and talk a little bit
handful
about
of
it.
looted coins with a colorful history will soon be heading to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, they were discovered in the estate of a person from the Chicago area thanks to the detective work of a local coin dealer.
A shipwreck mystery nearly 2 centuries old has now been solved by the folks here at Harlan Berk Coins in the Loop, who will now be sending the booty back to the U.S. Navy.
This is a Mexican 8 reales. This is an 1830 U.S. half dollar.
Russ Vegas shows us the 5 old coins that recently came into his shop, part of a larger cache of material from an estate controlled by the Cook County Public Guardian's Office.
They have a tag on them that says they're from the USS Yorktown. So, being who I am, I do a little bit of Googling and actually find out that these were looted from the ship.
The first USS Yorktown was a Navy sloop of war commissioned in 1839 that looked similar to this. In 1850, it was on patrol along the African coastline to stop slave ships.
Slaves were not allowed to be brought into the country anymore. And so, to that end, the U.S. actually did do a fair bit of anti-slaving operations in the Atlantic.
But the ship hit a reef and sank. The crew was rescued, but the Yorktown and its belongings sat at the bottom of the ocean for 150 years until a Portuguese company discovered the wreck in 2000 and began salvage operations.
There is a law that was passed in 2001 that essentially says American naval vessels, no matter where they are U.S. soil, and when they sink, they're still property of the United States government. So the Navy is very interested in recovering pieces like this.
The Navy's History and Heritage Command has already recovered some of the Yorktown's loot that was being auctioned in London. Now, these 5 coins from a Chicago area collector will be reunited.
These are going to be returned to the Navy in the next week or so. And they should go on display in the museum in Washington, D.C. with the rest of the artifacts from the USS Yorktown.
Vega says the Navy was surprised when he reached out to report what he found, which is probably worth about $1,000.
We've been in business for 60 years, and we've made our name in honesty, integrity, and also making sure that important pieces like this can be enjoyed by more people. If this gets one person interested in collecting U.S. coins or collecting world coins, I think that pays dividends.
The Navy will not be taking any action against the person or the estate that originally obtained the coins. They consider it, if you will, water under the bridge. In the Loop, Dane Placco, Fox 32, Chicago.
So yeah, shout out to Russ Vega. When I was down visiting you guys, I got an interview with him and Mike Nodelman, and that is my best performing video on my channel by far.
Wow.
So that's very cool and a nice find. And yet you guys just honestly returned it to the Navy and all that. That's interesting. So I thought that was kind of a cool story. And thanks, James, for bringing that to my attention. And,
I'm putting in the comments. This was we have a history of doing this. This was a collection that was stolen of autographs that was stolen from the Polish Museum of Chicago back in 2016. And we actually helped get back. They say $5 million worth of material. It was probably worth more like $2 million.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
Yeah. So, and actually, we also just returned a unwritten poem or unpublished poem by one of the most famous poets of America from the 19th century to I think it was Riley. Here, let me find that. And actually, my guys actually drove it down to Indianapolis to return it. Let me find that, because you shake this place hard enough stuff falls out, and so you've been here, so you know. Let me find.
Man.
So it was a poem by, where is that? Oh, wait, here it is. Why can't I see that?
Wow, so it got stolen from the Polish Museum and ended up in your hands.
Yeah, well, what happened is that the poem was by James Whitcomb Riley, who was a very famous poet at the time. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah. So what happened is that at the time, a couple of people came in and they had it was supposedly their great aunt's house, and she died, and they were throwing stuff out, and this was all in boxes up in the attic, and it was all these famous signatures and diplomas and medals and all kinds of stuff. But they brought in a 4-page letter written by Thomas Jefferson on the financial status of the United States at the time, and we didn't buy it for much. And then the dealer that we had, Dennis Forg, who was working for us at the time, he did some research and he found that the item was actually from the Polish Museum of Chicago. So he called the Polish Museum and said, "Did you ever deaccession anything?" And they said no. And it turns out that all this stuff was stolen like 20 years earlier, and they didn't know it until it was after everything was gone. And they were so afraid to tell anybody or to report it because they didn't want to look bad to the community.
Yeah.
They get donations from them and stuff. And so it turns out in the end that, and so we were buying the stuff on cents under the dollar, and then the Polish Museum was actually refunding us what we paid, and and then eventually they said, well, we're going to take the rest of the stuff to Sotheby's or Christie's. And so then the FBI got involved, and they arrested them. But it turns out they didn't know anything about it. It was the director of the museum who was stealing all of the stuff. He had passed away, and everything was left in his mother's house. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he actually was the culprit.
That's crazy.
So nobody got arrested. The guy died, and the family members didn't know. And so, and then typical FBI, we got a call from the Polish Museum. Obviously, they were very happy with us. And they said, oh, there's going to be a press conference. And so the FBI was going to do a press conference without us. And they were going to shut us out completely. And so my dad, being my dad, he raced over there with Dennis, who was the autograph guy, and was able to force himself on stage with everybody. And of course, the FBI, being the FBI, they always pump up the numbers. So they said 5 million. It was actually 2 million.
Wow. Wow.
They always overinflate the number to make themselves
sure,
bigger headlines. So in any case, they put my dad on the board of the Polish Museum.
Really?
Yeah, he was honored at the next big function, at the yearly function they have. they gave him like their highest award. So yeah, it was a big deal. So
Awesome.
anyway.
Very cool. All right, before I get going, I also want to just kind of, for my understanding, and I think I've asked you this before, but I'm slow, so just bear with me. Oh great, my camera's not going to be working on me very well here. It's very slow. But on this stater from Arcanania, the Pegasus,
Mhm.
you have BCD Arcanania 105, and when I look that up, all I can find is the coin itself. Is that supposed to be a reference to where it was found, like with a hoard, or what is that again?
It's just a reference number that we use to catalog it.
Okay, so when I put this up for sale, like when I'm selling it, do I need to? Is it important for me to include that, or not
I
necessarily?
think it's always good to have a some kind of reference, whether it's whatever catalog that you use to properly identify it and date it.
Okay. Okay, well, that's interesting. We're gonna get maybe a little bit deeper into that. I wanted to see because I got some coins I want to show you here in a little bit, and we can talk about. I know in your last ancient coin podcast, it was a great one, one of my favorites that you've done so far. But you showed in there a catalog that you guys use and
Oh, that was for the Lysimachus tetragrams.
the Lysimachus, and that's actually I had someone reach out to me and ask about grading and values on some Lysimachus. So I want to show you a couple pictures of those in a minute. But yeah, it just kind of lined up interestingly on something that you were just working on. So, but to continue on here, I wanted to get kind of a just an overall look into the coins. I was wondering, do you have a lot of sorry, getting a call here. Do you have a lot of oh goodness people that are like looking for, is there people that are mostly interested in their ancestral or the political history? Like, do you find that a lot of collectors are, oh, I'm just collecting because I'm into looking into ancestry, or I'm into looking into politics? Or is there categories of people that you find, or just like me, I'm into the art and the history? Or like, is it a variety? Do you see any categories like that?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to be Greek or Italian, most likely, or Turkish to have something from your own heritage. Yes, I do see a lot of Greeks that will collect where their family was from, or just like to collect coins in general from Greek or Roman times because they are from that, their family's from there. That does happen, but not too often. What I find is most people are heavily involved into the history of things, or the military aspect of things, the wars of things,
Okay.
the myths of things, the architectural parts of things. There's all different kinds of space. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of reasons to collect coins for the propaganda of what was going on in the period. And so there's a lot of different rabbit holes, obviously, you go down, and a lot of people definitely I think also, somebody asked me recently if I thought, if young people used to never be involved in collecting ancient coins or coins in general, and we're seeing an explosion of 20 to 35-year-olds that are collecting and are totally into it, because I think that with the as we get deeper and deeper into the world of the internet, people have submerged themselves for so long that they want something now. They want experiences, and they want something tangible that's not reality based. that's not internet based. And so we're finding a lot of people, and COVID had a lot to do with that, with the lockdown. People got into collecting and hobbies. Also, a lot of young people realized that they can make money selling history online. So there were tons of people, a lot of young guys, young women selling on Instagram, and making a little business for themselves. And also, I know of tons of people, like we had one high school kid that we interned here, and he just got offered, he graduated last year, got offered $100,000 starting pay right out of high school for US
Wow.
Film.
Wow.
And moved out to Virginia Beach. And so and he was doing $30,000 deals in high school. And so, and there's a group of these guys that are making real big money. And then I know there's some people that started out selling on eBay and there's tons of people doing Whatnot now, and they're making shitloads of money. And most of them are under 25.
Wow.
And so it's really insane. And so if you ask me, there was a big discussion before COVID on the longevity of our hobby. And everybody said, well, it's dying because it's aging out and there wasn't any new people coming into it. And in my 30 plus years of doing this, I've never seen so many inspired young people getting involved. And I see it in the store. We now have, you've been to my store. I've got 18 windows on the ground floor.
Yep.
And we now have just stuck in tons of cheaper ancient Roman rings and Greek rings, ancient junk bowl coins, meaning coins that are unattributed that you can buy for $15, shards of fragments from vases, Roman glass, oil lamps, things that are under $250 or sometimes under $50. And people are just coming in droves and buying this stuff and getting really excited about collecting. And it's I see it over and over. And then I see kids in college that go to colleges here that are buying coins, investing, and then coming in with material and then selling to us, stuff that they picked up. So it's people are realizing that they can make a business out of it. They can do it for fun. So to answer your question, which was very long-winded, I know, tons of reasons to collect, and also very inspired about what I'm seeing by the youth of America that are really into collecting as well. So it's really changed dramatically. And I'm on a checkbook. I'm on a call. Sorry, guys, I got interrupted.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, can you shut my door, please?
No, very cool. Well, I was just looking at some. I was just trying to find it. Some ancient coins and put it in the ring that it was put into. I've seen you guys had it looked to be the same as an ancient ring. So someone took an ancient actual ring and then mounted an ancient coin into the top of that.
Sure.
Or I'm guessing that was done of late. They didn't do that back then, did they? Like that
No.
was no. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, and coins were. I mean, there were coins sometimes that were put into jewelry, but mostly necklaces, but not too often, because coins were really a monetary system, used as monetary system, and so it wouldn't make sense to put it in jewelry necessarily. Gemstones, intaglios, scaraboids, things like that. That's the kind of stuff that went into jewelry.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, and then, yeah. So then that kind of tying into that question, I seen you had a Roman coin, and maybe we'll look at it later if we look at your site on Mount Gerizim, which is a biblical reference to Mount Gerizim, and what do you see? are people, do you get a lot of collectors that come at it just from the historical point and are searching out coins like that? Are there holes that you see, like, why is this not more valuable? People don't know of it. So like for you being in your position, I kind of wonder if you see some categories of ancient coins or jewelry or pottery, you deal with all that. That's like, this should be a lot higher. People should be, collecting this, or why is there not more interest in there? Something stand out to you like that?
Supply and demand, simple economics, and certain popularities that have never gone away. Egyptian material always sells pretty well because it's such a culture that everybody's really into. And then Greek and Roman sculpture, always marbles, always sell for big money. As far as coins go, there's the obscure cultures, like not everybody collects Parthian unless it's really rare. And it's very common to get a lot of the smaller denarii in quantity, and as well as Republican coins as well. There are some Republican, obviously, that garner a lot more money because there's specific advanced collectors for rarities, but that's true of anything for that matter. If you have a major rarity in any area, there are people out there that are collecting the entire world that want it. So,
Sure.
I know of one collector that is collecting every coin, metal, currency ever made by humans.
Wow.
And his collection probably worth about 50 million up to this point right now.
Wow.
And so you're gonna, in my sale right now, you're gonna see Curtis's collection first.
Yeah.
Once you get past Curtis's, then you get to the regular stock, which is right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, so yeah, well, I do want to go over a few things on your site. Might be jumping back and forth here a little bit, but so I have someone that has approached me and looking for a Roman gold coin, and I asked, well, what Caesar are you looking for? What coin specifically? And they said they didn't know. They really had no idea but we're interested in a Roman gold coin. And I thought, well, I'll ask you where, for someone that comes to you with that kind of a question, where would you lead them? Let's put it at $2-3 grand or something like that for value.
Well, anything Roman that's 2 or 3 grand is going to not be very pretty, like the Septimius Severus right there that has the 2 holes for 3 grand.
Okay.
That's a major rarity. When it's bent up and chewed up like that and has holes, they typically came out of India. And so what happened was during the ancient times in the Silk Road, the Romans were trading gold to the Indians for spices. And so a lot of India today, just like India of the ancients, are really into gold. They're still really into gold. And so a lot of them wore it and kept it. And so that's why it's all bent up. That's why it has holes in it. And so they had a lot of major rarities, especially in the Severn period. And so even though if that one wasn't holed up, it'd probably be worth 7,500 because even though it's chewed up, it's a major rarity. And so, but you get what you pay for with certain value of coins. And so obviously, to get a coin that's $1,000 to $3,000 in the Roman period, it's going to be pretty chewed up, pretty worn.
Okay.
The easiest one to get in high grade in gold is Byzantine, which is late Roman.
Right.
So
I've heard you say that. I think he would probably be more looking at early Roman, like a little BC, 100 years before, a couple hundred years after, somewhere in that would be my guess.
That wouldn't be Roman then if it's BC, because the Romans
right.
are before that.
Well, so, but you have okay. Well, you have a what do you call that? That's Roman but pre.
Well, it's called imperatorial.
Okay.
So that's before the Roman Empire took off when they were fighting the civil wars, because you had Julius Caesar dying, or being assassinated. You had the civil war between Octavian, Mark Antony, Brutus and Cassius, Sextus Pompey, all of those people. That was before the first Roman emperor is Augustus, Octavian, as he became Augustus in 27 BC. And so that's probably the only area that you're going to get Roman gold that's actually Roman gold. Before Augustus became the first Roman emperor and ruled the entire world, there was no emperors that, Julius Caesar was turning himself into the ultimate dictator, and that's what got him assassinated. But ultimately, anything before the Roman period is imperatorial. Before the imperatorial is the Republic.
Okay. Are those, do you find those, like back to the very Republic, the early stuff, is that more expensive, less expensive?
There's very little gold in the Republican period, and the imperatorial stuff is also very expensive.
Okay.
And so you're going to be much easier to get something in silver or bronze from those periods that's reasonable than you would even in the Imperials.
Okay.
So they're relatively scarce in gold from those earlier pieces. I mean, look, I had the ultimate gold imperatorial coin, and it was the gold Eidmar with the hole in it, and that one sold for 2.4 million.
Right.
So that gives you an idea of value. So to Space Miner, to answer your question about, I think that one of the coolest areas that's that there's a plentiful amount of coins in is the Republican silver. It's got really cool. It's actually the beginning. It was the first time the denarius was ever used. I'll probably be doing an educational on the Roman Republican denarii in my next podcast. I think we're going to film on Sunday, and I haven't finished it, but that's when the denarius was first introduced during the Roman Republican period. And if you go back to collections, we get collections every once in a while from the 1930s here in the United States that were put together in the United States. And there wasn't a lot of great coins moving around the US at that time, but there was tons of Republican silver in high grade because they weren't expensive and there was tons of it. And they produced a ton of it because they were trading. And they were also fighting the Carthaginians in the Punic Wars. And so they had to produce a lot of silver to be able to pay soldiers to fight in the two Punic Wars against Carthage. And so there was a massive amount of denarii. They used gods and goddesses, and then they started putting the names of the moneyers were basically rich landowners that were issuing coins. None of Julius Caesar's coins were issued by him. They were issued by moneyers under his name. And so in his name, I should say. And so I really like Roman Republican silver because you can get most silver coins for about between $75 and $250, and then occasionally you might have to spend up to $500 for a great one. And then there's obviously rarities and things like that. But you can get great Republican silver for $250 and under. And they're mint state coins, they're high grade, and they're very pretty. And
yeah, I actually like out of all the Roman coins, again, I'm not big on it. I like the history, but not so much the art. But if I was to pick a period, I think I would go with the Republican Rome. That's when I thought it had the best art from what I've seen.
I mean, it has a lot of different iconography, and you can't pronounce any of the names because they're really long. But it's really, really interesting. And they're talking about wars. They've got there's actually voting on. There's one coin where they're showing voting. Actually, there's one that they have coin production tools, like the vice and the hammer and the anvil. They have another one that shows the rape of the Sabaean women.
Yeah.
There's all these really cool types on it. And so they're widely available. If you go into e-auctions, I usually will buy wholesale a lot of those coins for 75 to 100 euros. And so I end up into them for like $125, $130, and I can turn around and sell them for $175 to $200. So you know, and they're all over the place. And so you know, I just think, you know, a lot of people don't like collecting bronze because they think it's boring, you know. But if you want something that's gold or silver, silver is yeah, there was a rape coin. So and there's a whole story about it as well.
Yeah.
Future customer. You're regretting?
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm going to show that coin that you showed with the actual tools used to mint the coins from that period. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to show here. So this is a Roman gold coin that is in pretty decent shape. Like you can see the imagery very clearly.
Young portrait, young Nero portrait on there.
And that's for 5,500. That's not too bad. So I just wanted to give that guy an idea starting. But from you, so you can find, you know, some pretty decent Roman coins of this quality for $5,000 and under. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah. I have another Nero going in my next sale. That's probably priced similar. And so you know, and if this one wouldn't have sold at the full price, you know, it may have gone for 3,500 or 3,750.
Okay.
In that range.
Yep. Cool.
So you know, it's you know, it's just you know, it's about EF, which is basically kind of just a VF-ish in the plus range. But it's you know, if it starts to get into the mint state scenario, then you might start pulling in you know, in the 6,000 to 8,000 range, and then it goes up depending on how rare the reverse type is and things like that. Got
you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so next I wanted to show. So I went in our last talk. I went over this Jayla coin, or however you say that, and I want to show that right quick, and then in another couple coins. I'm going to play just a short.
Yeah, it actually brought.
I thought
that brought big money.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. It was a cool looking. Just the way it's kind of fitting the coin or something. I really like this particular coin. So that was showing 5,000 francs. I was pointing it out before the sale, kind of liking it. We talked about it. I believe you said maybe up to about 10 grand, somewhere in there. But it kind of ended up really blowing the doors off. I do like. I wanted to ask you while I get your podcast pulled up. Have you seen that imagery on that? Like, is that the first coin with that imagery that you've seen, or is that something that's fairly common, but just a nice example of it?
Yeah, it's common. Okay. It's just that was a nice example, and that's why I profiled it. Because I thought that the Minotaur was really well done, and so that's why I used it. But it is a common coin. They do come up, and you know, coins are kind of like your golf game, right? You don't always get it all right or all put together, and so there's always something missing somewhere. And
right.
So you know, and it's just a matter of what you're willing to give up, and when both sides are perfect, then it's going to be a specific price range. That, you know, is going to start to take a lot of people out of the equation when it comes to buying it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, strong price, 22,000.
Looks like I'm delaying. Yeah, that other one got withdrawn.
What was that?
The coin after this one, it got withdrawn.
Yeah, and I wanted to lead into this coin, and so yeah, a few things here. So one, you mentioned here that this had already sold in NAC, if I understood right.
It got withdrawn. It got withdrawn from NAC.
Oh, it did get withdrawn from NAC, and then it ended up over here.
Yes.
At Starte, or however you say that. Okay. And so this got withdrawn, but I wanted to just point this out with the, you know, fake coins in Ancients. you know, once we get enough eyes on it, you know, people can find the fakes, and it's very I'm very impressed with how well you guys can find the fakes. But you know, there are some good fakes out here, and here would be one of them. And that kind of leads me to, so I want to pull up a couple pictures that I was sent, and let me know what you think. He's going to send me more of these pictures when he gets them in hand. So these are, you know, I'll get the reverses on them, and we can learn more about them. But off the start, here's one of the coins.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lysimachus Centrum. Yep.
Yep. And then the next one was this one.
Same Lysimachus. Yep.
Yes. And for me, I was a little, you know, I would be a little standoffish from these coins, but it's just because I don't have the knowledge base.
They look perfectly fine from the images, but it's the type of thing you have to get them in hand to see them.
In hand. Yeah.
And to make sure the weights are proper, and to study the coin. You can only show so much. I can see that the coin's been over cleaned. You can tell behind the head. So obviously, I've seen this die before. It's relatively common. So it's not that it's not a. I don't see any looks of a cast to me. But again, this is a blurry photo, and and you're only going to get no one can be 100% unless it's like obvious because the style is so wrong.
Right. So that's what I noticed on for one thing, it's a little bit dull in the, it's either got some wear to it or not a complete stamp, or it seemed a bit dull or something. And then, like you say, behind his head, there's a lot of scraping going on there.
Yeah, so somebody cleaned it, and so
cleaned it too harshly. And is that the same thing underneath his chin and neck? Looks really
well. That's the black incrustation from the earth. It's still on the coin.
Yeah. Okay.
So this coin looks genuine to me.
Okay. Okay. That's what I was wondering. And then this other one we were looking at, I noticed neither of them
also has sediment on the coin.
A lot of sediment.
Yep. You know, that could be faked, but it looks like it's pretty hard sediment. So you know, just based on the overall photo, it doesn't look like it's fake to me. But
okay. And then I hadn't seen the horn of him on there with that line kind of down the center. I'd never seen that before.
Well, it doesn't scream anything to me, but I'd have to study the die and see.
Yeah, and he was wondering about the mint, and I know, like in your last podcast, you went over Lysimachus, this very coin, and we'll look at that in a second, where, you know, how you can actually find the mint that this probably came from, and that would be from looking at the reverse side of this coin, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because the symbols, you got to match up the symbols to be able to know what mint, and from the mint in Thompson, you'll be able to then get the mint and also the circuit dates.
Okay, and then on this one, I noticed there's no, and it could just be because they're off the flan, I guess, but I don't see the little dots going all the way around on this coin. And usually they're on one edge or the other. You'll see the row of dots going around.
Only on specific mints, not necessarily across the board.
Okay. This is all.
Lots of different dies. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great information. Let me try to pull this up here. Why is that not working? Oh, hang on here. And add that to stage. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I want to pull over here and look. Shaw. Oh, here, let me. 2037, I wanted to show you.
Oh, the minting.
Yeah, so this coin right here is
a Republican bronze, and it has the minting tools on the reverse.
yeah. So guys, this right here, if you can see on the reverse of this coin, that is. Oh, there it is. Come on. Anyway, yeah, those are the tools that they used during that time to mint the coin. So you can see the pliers or the grips that they used to probably hold these little round dies, and the hammer they used to strike it. Is that what I'm seeing there? Is that right?
Right.
Wow, that's just cool, because I mean I've spent quite a bit of time wondering what they used, and here's a coin that's showing the very tools that they used. That's pretty sweet.
Correct.
And okay, and then I wanted to continue on to okay, so this is the book Essays in Greek Coinage, and this is what you use to find the mints that the Lysimachus coins come from.
Correct.
And I don't know why it doesn't want to work for me here sometimes, but yeah. So here, it just shows all the on the reverse. It shows the different symbology symbols and the symbols that they use to correlate with the mints.
Right.
So just from looking at those two pictures earlier, you know, we know it's Lysimachus, but to get the actual mints, we would need the reverse of the coin.
Yeah, and that one was minted at Pergamum after the death of Lysimachus, because they kept issuing coins just like they did with Alexander for at least 100 to 150 years or longer after his death and after the death of Alexander. And what's even cooler is that this is actually a portrait of Alexander as Zeus Amon. So Lysimachus didn't even put his own portrait on the coins.
His own portrait on there.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here and let me see. Right for so here I looked. So I think I got this. I got lucky on this one here. So I you go on to say probably a little lower than 1,500. I threw out 1,500. I just went and checked this, like from the website you told me about, Coin Archives.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was checking this, and yeah, here it is after it sold, and 1,200 Chief francs, which is, you know, that I don't know what that comes out US dollars, but it's not that far off from 1,500.
Click on the image. Click on expand that screen. Hit the description.
Oh, okay.
Click anywhere.
Yep. Got it.
And then
1,460 US dollars.
There you go.
So I was $40 off on this. But I think you were saying maybe a little bit lower. So were you a little bit surprised by this coin? Like I was kind of expecting. In fact, I was pretty close on expecting this to go up there, but you thought maybe a little lower. What do you think after the fact here?
Well, I mean, don't forget that doesn't include the buyer's fees.
Wow. Okay. So even over that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 15 to 20% over.
So So yeah, I mean that's
1600, 1650, something like that.
okay. So that's yeah. I mean, what is this? See, because I've been looking, following these Delphi coins, or however you pronounce that, for a minute, and I thought, boy, this, because it's somewhat worn. Like, it's not that great of a coin, but out of the coins I've seen, I thought
It's a rare bird that everybody wants, and
yeah.
so they bring good, strong money in any quality.
Okay, and let me see here. What does that say for weight on it too? It's small. It's like a gram or two, right?
Well, it was a trihemiobal, so yeah, it's small.
1.25 grams. So that's
Yeah,
tiny.
it's only 11.6, so it's literally like this big. It's tiny.
Yeah.
That's millimeter size, 11.6 millimeters.
Yeah, 11.6 millimeters. Yeah, I've been working with a new metal, crystalline osmium, and we're working in those millimeters. So I know that's a small piece. So
Small coin.
but valuable in itself. Like, that's interesting to me. I do love the imagery and the place, and so yeah, I don't know. I found that interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, what else did I have here? So stickers on coins and on I was wondering, have you thought about ever doing, like, because there's all the cack and everything with the plastic graded coins. Have you thought about doing stickers for loose coins for us ancient holders of our metals?
I
Like,
mean, I did have a validation sticker program that I did a while back, and it never really took off, and it wasn't really, um, I think the only way I would ever really do it is if I partnered with CAC themselves. And I've talked to John Albanese, the owner of CAC, about if he ever wanted to get into ancients. I suggested to him not to slab ancients first, but to do a sticker program first,
oh, okay, cool.
and then from the sticker program, build up your reputation, and then you can move into slabs later if you wanted to. But what's really interesting is I found a new slabbing company for ancients that just popped up, and I met the guy in, at the Fun Show in Florida, and it's called PNC, Provident Numismatic Certification. I'm going to be doing be presenting them on my next podcast because it's interesting that somebody else has entered the space of slabbing ancients. And this guy he's doing it by himself, so it's kind of a one-man operation. It is a one-man operation, and he is also was a grader at NGC for 10 years, so he knows how it works, and he's doing a little bit more interesting things with the slab as far as like putting cool imagery on the reverse, on the tag. So if it's architectural, he's got an architect, like he's got a building or something like that, like Colosseum or something like that. And at the moment, he's only doing Roman coins. He'll move into Greek once he figures out the holders. So, but I'm all for promoting new companies that are willing to create a competition base against NGC.
Okay, very interesting. Well, I would like, for me, it's, I get so much out of holding the coin.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of interested in, could we do something like that for the loose coins? I know there's not the handy plastic case to slap your sticker on, but
you'd have to record, you have to photograph the coin, and you'd have to post it publicly so that everybody can see the state of the coin when it was actually stickered, because we all know that sometimes coins get into people's hands and they will doctor a coin. They'll clean the coin. They'll do all kinds of interesting things like that. And so the state of the coin could change for better or worse. And so you have to record the coin image-wise to show it locked in time. That would be the only thing you'd have to combat against, because Otherwise, you could sticker it and then somebody could really mess up the coin. And
Right. In their hands or whatever. Right.
yeah,
Right.
they cleaned it improperly, they polished it, and then maybe the coin wouldn't get stickered for some reason. Unless you're just stickering it for authenticity, that's fine. But if you're stickering it for other reasons as well,
Yeah.
if you're doing different colored stickers based on whether the pedigree is amazing or the quality is outstanding. I mean, because CAC does have gold stickers they don't use very often, but they do have a gold sticker that they will use occasionally as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I just watched a video from Drachmas or something like that on YouTube. He's got a channel and he's open an L5 or something
Oh yeah,
website.
that's the other site I'm going to be talking about.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
that's an awesome site. I know the guy who started it. I'm involved with him. I'm not financially involved, but I'm helping him because, for instance, he's doing community grading, which is really, really cool. And so I got him to add more grades in because he had the highest grade below FTC he had was EF. I said, dude, you're missing mint state. You're missing AU, you're missing a lot of grades. And I grade something EF and somebody's like, well, on this site, it wouldn't make sense that it's EF. And I said, yeah, I know, but it's in my book, my EF is 4 grades lower than what it could be, from the top, from FTC. So actually I just got a text from the owner today and they're going to be adding in all additional tons of different grades as well as options.
So that's kind of a form of stickering in itself. From what I was watching and seeing them doing, I mean, yeah, they had places where people can post what they think about it, and
Yes.
and then I was just thinking about the whole sticker system. I'm like, well, maybe you could just make a sticker system along with that too.
Well, you don't really have to. It's just giving people the feeling comfortable about buying coins. He's doing 5% buyer's fees, and he's doing 0% seller fees. And so he is trying to make it so that clients, collectors can take the auction houses out of the equation.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he's building on the fact that most people have their own opinion on what grade is. And so based on who is grading the coin, they'll have a specific weight. And then based on that, he'll average it out, and then you get the community grade. And so sometimes if it only has 1 grade, it will say hasn't gotten enough data yet. And I find that most people kind of grade the same ultimately. And so even NGC holders are being graded. And so that's where it's really cool, because then the community can kind of like combat NGC a little bit.
Yeah.
And give their real opinion. It's also giving a weight to pedigree as well. So, one thing I talked about with the guy who's starting the other slabbing company is I said he needed to have a scale for artistic merit. And so he's seriously thinking about adding that, because I said the artistic merit is just as important as the grade. It's probably
For me it's like that's for me that's what most of it is about for me. Or huge.
I said you could ultimately probably get rid of, because he's got strike and surface like NGC. I said you could probably get rid of strike, because honestly the grade is kind of what the strike is a bit, And I said you could add it and have all 4. You could have the grade, artistic merit, then strike, then surface.
Yeah.
And so, but I told them artistic merit's extremely important, because you could have a highly artistic die for Alexander the Great that's VF, and then have a very uninspired die that's mint state, flawless mint state. They're going to give it a star. It's going to go for a ridiculous price. And honestly, the artistic merited one is probably the better coin.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely see that problem in the slabbing that's going on right now, from what I've seen. So
right. And so when I said to him, he goes, "Oh, that's a great idea." And I said, "Yeah, you should add it." And he goes, "Well, I can do whatever I want. It's my company." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Well, sounds good to me."
Cool.
So, but yeah, I love this concept with L5. I think it's very, very smart. And I'm all for new ideas. And I showed it to one person who gets a lot of who works with one of the big auction houses, and they were like, "Oh, that's not good for the auction houses," and I'm like, "Who cares about the auction houses?"
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is about the collectors, and
Yeah.
honestly. NAC is still going to be NAC.
Yeah, yeah, you're not gonna. It's not like you're not. Those aren't gonna go
It's
anywhere.
going to be coins that are under $5,000 in general, you know, but it gives what it is that there's a lot of collectors who end up having additional coins they don't want in their collection anymore, and so it gives them the ability to go and sell something themselves without getting murdered with fees on a single coin, and it puts the power back into their hands of what they want to do. Also, it teaches them how to grade coins, because you can sit there and grade and learn how to grade from the community themselves.
Right.
And so to me, it's a great site for learning, as well as being able to sell off a single coin here and there, and kind of dealing with that. Because look, if you sell to CNG, they're going to charge you a fee. You're going to sell to Heritage, they're going to make you get the coin slab. You know, there's fees involved with all of those things. And so, and then here you're controlling your own destiny, right? So you can reserve the coin where you want, you can list it. If it doesn't sell, there's no fees, so it doesn't really matter, right? And the community would probably tell you straight away, like, oh, that's, you know, they can make comments and everybody can see it. Like, oh, that's ridiculously overpriced.
Right.
You know, they can make their comments and everybody would see it. Right. Yep. And so, you know, it's, you know, I got into a debate last night with somebody about the grading, and I said, well, yeah, my EF is not where it should be for this site. And that's what I just mentioned to you. And and then he came back to me, goes, oh, I see your point. And I said, yeah, and maybe I did overgrade it a little, but I just couldn't call it VF in what I consider. Right.
Yeah.
And so, and it was kind of on the edge. And so having more options there to be able to pinpoint, because ancient coins is not such a precise science. You know, it's a science that has a lot of different facets.
Yep.
And nuances.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. It's a great. From what I've seen, I agree. It'll be great for early people like me who come in maybe not as as high priced and whatnot, but you can get a feel for what you think of a coin, and you put a coin up there and you get 10 people like, why are you pricing that way? Or, well, it's because I'm unexperienced. So
right.
And,
well, yeah, and you can put it up on the preview, because they show the preview for like 30 days or something. So your coins are up there for a while before they even go live. And so honestly, you know, a lot of comments and information can be gathered before the thing ever goes live. You know, like, I mean,
adjust.
I wrote on one coin, I was like, oh, this thing is tooled to the wazoo, you know, so I could put that in the comments, and yeah, my surface was 1 out of 5, but ultimately I was able to comment on why I was so negative on the surface. Anyway, it's a nice idea. I think that it probably, I think it's also using a little bit of AI as well. So, it's cool. So, and the guy who started it isn't really trying to make money. He's already a multimillionaire. So he doesn't need to make money. He just was looking for a way to make it easier for collectors. That's all.
Cool.
And he's in IT. So he already knows the space very well. But then he needed people like me to be on board to like help him out and give him advice.
For sure.
Awesome. Which I'm always happy to do.
Yeah, no, I greatly appreciate you taking the time for someone like me, just out of the blue, working with me from scratch. That's, says I'm always impressed with everything. Just like I started this off with showing you getting covered by Fox for turning that. You guys have a great integrity and a great
well, those coins are kind of worthless because they're sea salvage, right?
Right.
And Russ is actually the guy who discovered it in the store. Russ is he's ex-military. Russ was in the Army and then the reserves for a decade. So, he's all about returning things to the military, so, but ultimately it's good advertising, and that's the kind of advertising you can't buy,
Right.
So it's goodwill. It's the right thing to do. And if you can get it on the news, it pays huge dividends.
I bet. Good deal. All right, awesome, Aaron. Well, we're out of time here again today, but I really appreciate you again, as always, and hopefully we can do it again.
Anytime, my friend. You take care.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, everybody out there, thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully we covered something that was interesting for you, and reach out, comment down below anything that interested you or you'd like to have asked next time, and we'll do it again, and hopefully have more good questions to bring to him, because it's a great opportunity for me, not knowing a lot about ancient coins, to get to talk to somebody like Aaron. So anybody out there that has any questions or comments, definitely put them in the comments space down below, and I will try to get to them if I can. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.